Now, let's dive into some practical tips on how to differentiate your profile as a fresh graduate, or if you are someone with limited experience, that would apply to you as well. We all know that as a fresh graduate, our profile looks very similar to one another. So many of my clients also told me they struggle to even put together a resume. They said, I have not started working and there's really nothing much to write about. Well, in this episode, I'm going to also focus on how to bring more of you into the resume and also the interview processes so that you can stand out in this whole process. Number one, understand what employers are looking for in fresh graduates. In fresh graduates, besides a baseline kind of qualification, employers are looking for some basic qualities. One is maturity. Are you reliable? Can I trust you? Will you deliver something as you say? Number two is potential. Can you learn fast? Are you trainable? Number three is independence. Can you motivate and discipline yourself to get things done? Or can you think for yourself? So employers do understand that you are fresh out of the school, likely you are not fully trained in the professional ethics, or you are not yet used to how the corporate world works. But they are looking for someone who's reasonably mature, who they can train and who has the capability to be independently thinking and executing. So now, in the job search process, your job as a job searcher is to communicate these early signs of the three qualities effectively. A solid college degree with some awesome scores, of course, is a great way to showcase all these qualities of a person. That's why companies do like people from good schools and with good scores. But not everyone has that, let's face it. How do we then communicate these qualities? The best way is always to tell a great story or multiple great stories about yourself. Number two, bring out the best of you and showcase them with a strategy. You need materials to tell a great story, obviously. And so now, think like this. There are three stacks of cards you can play. The first stack is with your school. Education, school projects, or ECA fall under this bucket. Stack 2 is with organizations, is internship or some sort of formal or contractual work experience that you had. The stack 3, on your own, hobby or initiatives that you took, and also volunteer jobs. So before we start, I want this principle, this single principle, to sink into your mind. When writing your resume, only write useful things or write things in a useful way. So let me repeat. When writing your resume, only write useful things or write things in a useful way. Now consider with this new principle, school, major, final GPA, all these are factual and you probably can't do a lot at this point of time about that. But if your final GPA is not great, it's not useful, then you don't need to feature it in your resume. Similarly, a lot of people write a long list of modules they took along with the GPA scores or scores for those modules. Well, you are free to do so if it's useful. And even if so, I'll suggest you keeping to 3 to 5 modules maximum that are really relevant for the job or industry you are applying for. And again, if your score doesn't help, then they are not useful. But if there is certain obscure module that you took out of blue that was not relevant to your major but suddenly is relevant to your job, then you should put it in because it has become useful. The next is school projects. It's interesting how people list all the boring stuff on which modules they took, but miss out the gem, which is the school projects. You are lucky to study in the modern education system today because schools now give you a lot of chances to do something. And there are plenty of gold in the school projects that you shouldn't miss out in your resume. So give them more color on what you actually achieved as a team in those projects and what role you played in that project itself. Employers want to know what role exactly do you play if placed in a group of people. Are you the motivator? Are you the execution guy? And are you the ideas person? Or are you good at vision? Or are you more detailed? I'm sorry, the background is with rain, so it's very, very heavy rain outside. You can't be everything, but every single strength here that you could illustrate will be a very important piece of your key strength at this point of time. It's okay if you were not a leader, but you need to be someone.